Now for the top 8 of GP Birmingham. Hello my friends and welcome to the top 8 of GP Birmingham. You're in the booth with me, it's Riley Knight, and with him it's Raphael Levy. Raph, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon for some Sunday night magic coming at you live from Birmingham on a Saturday, 24 hours early thanks to the double-header GP weekend. Today we have Johan de Grauter and Bernardo Santos Steel Stompy Legacy Affinity playing off against the deck du jour. It is Grixis Delver. Now, Raph, you've got the lists in front of you. Do you want to perhaps walk us through what this matchup is going to look like as the players get into it and talk about perhaps who might be favoured?
This is a matchup we've seen and it went both ways. So it's hard to say who's exactly favourite, and I'm sorry. Oh no, this is still Stompy against Delver. Never mind. I had the wrong deck list in my hand. So Chalice for 1. If Chalice for 1 resolved, that would have been a big problem for Bernardo.
Yeah, considering that the overwhelming majority of cards in the Delver deck cost 1.
It's actually very hard to say who's favorite in this one. We've seen de Gruyter playing against Yuta Takahashi in almost the same matchup. And the match we saw, he won. And he was facing a lot of Kolaghan's commands.
Yeah, I mean, he fought his way through 4 Kolaghan's commands in one game thanks to Snapcaster Mage here. And it looks like that Grixis Delver list is looking to try to disrupt Johan de Grauter's plan as much as possible. Now a Wasteland on the Ancient Tomb. But de Grauter, he's not worried. He's not worried. He's got an Inventor's Fair. Doesn't have anything else to follow it up with. But all the same here, Santos is going to have to get himself on the board and put some early pressure on. That's what Grixis Delver wants to do. Doesn't have ways to pull ahead on cards. Just raw pressure, disruption, and a tempo-based game there without too many ways to pull back into it with card advantage.
So I would say that if Bernardo, with Grixis Delver, manages to stabilize and put some pressure, he would win the game. But I think it's hard for him to stabilize because the threats are very, very different. And Walking Ballista is able to do a lot of work.
Wasteland now on de Grauter.
On the Grauter side. And he has a lot of ways to interact with Santos.
It's going to be an Arcbound Ravager here for de Grauter. Pretty strong play from him if he's got nice follow-ups for it. I see an Etched Champion in hand for him as well. Santos now with the action.
And Santos does not have Kolaghan's command. He has 1 Ancient Grudge in the sideboard.
Well, a daze here for Santos is going to keep the board clear at least. And with an active Deathrite Shaman now, we'll see what Santos wants to do to further leverage his position. He has kept de Grauter from contesting the board so far. That critical force of will there, getting rid of the Chalice of the Void.
Fortunate for de Gruyter here. Because that would have almost been a turn 1 win.
Locked him out turn 1. Now, next turn, however, de Grauter can play a Lodestone Golem. He's got a City of Traders in hand with 4 mana. That means a 5/3 Thought of Amethyst can come down. That's a pretty big play.
It is, but it still dies to Lightning Bolt.
That is true.
And even with the Golem in play, Santos would be able to cast the Lightning Bolt, given that he has a land to play.
So DRS exiling that Ancient Tomb now.
But since he dazed, it's pretty likely he has a land.
It is, unless something remarkable has happened, yes. And the DRS has powered out a Ponder here for Santos, who is opting to shuffle. Now, often, Raph, we will see focused linear decks like this Affinity list really suffer post-board, right? Because they will face a lot of very impactful and hateful sideboard cards. The problem is that isn't really the case. I mean, in Modern, if you bring Affinity to Modern, you can expect Stony Silence. You can expect Ancient Grudge.
I agree with you.
A strong component in Legacy.
I agree. It's not as focused as the one in Modern.
All right.
And it's not very popular either. I mean, I haven't seen many Arcbound Ravagers today or yesterday on the Legacy tables. So players are less prepared for this matchup, and they will not pack as many as much hate as in Modern, for example, where it's quite easy to hate on Affinity. So Gormak Angler would actually contest the Lodestone Golem. He would just trade for a Golem.
Mm-hmm.
The big fish.
Yeah, it's a real nice one in the face of something like an opposing Lodestone Golem here.
It's also a big face, a big fish face.
Big old mouth. I mean, what happens here, obviously, because it's a 5/5, the Lodestone Golem is a 3/3 or 5/3.
Mm-hmm.
The Gourmet Angler can completely swallow the Lodestone Golem, right? It's not a Vor thing; you can just do it. And but due to the fact that the Lodestone Golem is very spiky, right? Obviously, it's going to rip the fish apart, and that's why that's how they go down.
I see.
Yeah. That's the flavor, the official flavor ruling on those cards and their interaction.
All right, makes sense.
It does. Makes perfect sense. Big attack now for Santos, getting it for 6. How about that?
So Lodestone Golem, playing the Ravager before the Golem means that he will protect the Golem from a bolt. Be able to sacrifice the Ravager, use the modular ability to put a +1/+1 counter on the Golem if it faced the bolt.
So the Ravager now. See an Ancient Tomb now from Degrada, so still got that City of Traders in hand. He's got a lot of mana to play with here. But his life total is certainly under siege from the big fish.
So he has the option to play an Edge Champion who would be a protection from all colors only if he has Metalcraft. And he has access to 3 artifacts, although he would need to activate his Mishra's Factory. And if he does, then Bernardo can just kill the Mishra's Factory and the champion would lose its protection from all colors ability.
Edge Champion, one of the cards that we often see in Modern Affinity to contest removal-heavy decks like Jund. And it's no less effective in Legacy, I have to say. But Degrada at this point, I mean, he hasn't been able to really put together the deck's game plan. He hasn't drawn Mox Opal, which is not a great thing.
Yeah.
He's had his mana disrupted by Wasteland. And ultimately, I think the sort of the Glass Cannon turn 1 Chalice just meta force, and that was that. So what have you spotted here, Raf?
So there was no attack from Santos. I think it's possible that the Grota could not have blocked that attack.
Because he's worried about his land being blown up?
Because he would just be dead to a bolt, pretty much.
So if you're Santos there, do you think you just jam? Do you just slam and then jam and just try to...
I mean, on 17, there's not like you...
there's not too much that can go wrong here.
For him, no.
No. Lodestone Golem, now the play for Degrada. That's going to make Santos's life a little bit difficult. And this Thorn of Amethyst is only going to make it worse here.
It's pretty good here. It's a good way to...
What do you think of his sequencing there, Raf?
Well, I like it. I like it. Why not?
It's not so bad there, of course. The Lodestone Golem and the Thorn of Amethyst, not exactly identical. One of them non-creature, the other one non-artifact. But it amounts to the same thing here for Bernard Santos.
Yeah, maybe the other way around have been a little better.
It amounts to the same thing.
You think?
Yeah,
either way, Bernardo has access to 2 lands, so...
Yeah. So Santos now.
Yeah, that was a nice turn for Johan to stabilize this board.
Yeah, he's looking to stabilize here as Santos cracks the fetch. Didn't manage to flip the Delver. Never lucky. Never lucky, Raf.
But Delvers here are a little better than, for example, in Modern, where they would actually be blocked by Inkmox.
Yeah, of course.
Inkmox Netflixes.
The thing about Inkmoth
Netflixes
it's one of those cards that can win out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it's not played here in Legacy, and it's not able to block something like a Delver of Secrets.
Yeah, Mishra's Factory do not block
No.
Delvers.
No, they don't have a Netflix subscription, mate.
No, they don't.
No, they're watching Hulu.
Yeah. But they can block the Wandering Man, though.
They can. They can watch the Wandering One.
Wandering One, the other name for the Walking Delver.
The Walking Delver. The Walking Talking Delver hasn't quite turned into a bug. And now, it's a Volk for Bernardo Santos. No, it's not. Okay.
Could be a Volk.
The biggest of takesies backsies on the biggest of the Magic stages. Okay, Scalding Tarn instead. So just...
that was just a trick. It's actually there.
Showing Degrada that he perhaps doesn't have all the action in the world.
I love this. I love gaining a life from this card. Oh, that's so tasty.
Yeah, so good.
It feels like 2 life.
Feels like 2 life?
Yeah, it tastes like it is 1 life, but it tastes like 2 life.
So it's all the calories of 1 life with
Yeah.
all the good taste of 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
With another life, he gains a turn from a flip Delver. So now with Johan at 9 life, that's probably going to be changed very soon.
Degrada ships now. And
Gaining 2
now
life.
Death Threat Shaman gain a couple of life here for Santos.
Yeah,
How much
there's
life does that feel like you're gaining?
just 2.
Just 2.
Yeah.
Not as juicy, huh?
No, that is juicy. Okay, this is
Always lucky.
where the trouble could start. But on the left side of the table, you have Ancient Tomb, City of Traders, Mishra's Factory, and Inventor's Fair. So if you don't like the taste of 1 life, you can just turn it into, for example, a Walking Ballista. Yeah, because you can sacrifice the Inventor's Fair.
Yep. Go and find whatever you want.
Yep.
That is one way for Degrada to contest the board here in a meaningful way with a 3-2 on top. And a 2-mana Gataxian Probe.
And take 2. And 2 life.
2-mana peak.
And 2 life.
And 2 life.
Yeah.
Demonstrating that there is a Phyrexian Revoker.
And it's going to sting because sacrificing the fair will also cost 2 life. How many cards does Santos have? 1 or 2? If
Santos
it's 2, yeah, it's
has
2 cards, but
two
that's
cards.
there are no Force of Wills.
One's a Volk. An update from one of our back tables. On table 2, we have Alexander Mertens on Dredge beating Gary Campbell
Match?
on Mono Red Prison. No, just 1-0.
Oh, 1-0.
First game going to Alexander Mertens. Gary Campbell will, of course, have to lean pretty heavily on those 4 copies of Fairy Macabre he has in his sideboard, in addition to the Singleton Surgical Extraction. Very difficult. Get Dredge known as a game 1 deck, Raf.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, there's a GT that could work as well. GT would probably work better than Walking Ballista here.
So it is going to be the sacrifice of the Inventor's Fair here.
GT on the Edge Champion, that's sweet.
Yeah, just get in there,
Oh yeah. Oh,
get the counters, shoot the Delver out the sky, gain some life. Does it all, mate.
it's dangerous because if he takes the GT, that means he would take 2 from the Ancient Tube unless he draws another land.
Mm-hmm. And then he
So-
loses the City of Traders to him.
Yeah, but losing the City of Traders is not too bad.
That's fine. You get that last little bit of juice off from it, huh?
The thing is, if he takes the Walking Ballista, that's a short-term answer.
Okay.
But he would still lose to Bolt. So I guess GT is probably better.
Well, the thing is, as we cast our eye over Santos's list, right? He has no answer to the GT. Stone Cold
no,
no
he
answer.
does not. No, I think
So-
GT is better on the long run.
I think the observation you're making here, Raf, is a really good one, in that Walking Ballista fixes his immediate problems in that it removes a Delver from the equation, but it leaves him dead to future cards. Whereas GT is hedging less against the immediate position,
Mhm.
but a much stronger return on investment in the longer term. So it's about what you want. Do you want
Actually,
a short term or a long term?
Actually, even the Ballista has the same problem as the GT. Like, he's going to take 2 now, and he's not going to be able to gain life. So if Santos draws a Bolt, he's just dead. And like with GT, the thing with GT, he has to attack.
Yeah,
So there's an attack back from the...
from the other side. Oh, because the
but there's also the that's for Chairman that's going to ping for 2. So that's there's a lot of things.
bit of a problem here. Well, in the meantime, while we're digesting that, we do have some more results from the back tables. In Game 1 results, at least. So I've already mentioned that Alexander Mertens is up Game 1 against his opponent, Gary Campbell. We also have Yuta Takahashi, unfortunately for him, going down to Peter Van der Ham in Game number 1. So Grixis Delver getting up and about there. And in the Anderson-Kowalski bout, we have Janis Skobsby-Anderson on Grixis Kess, beating up on Gregor Kowalski on Grixis Delver in Game number 1. So the Game number 1 is going to Van der Ham, Anderson, Mertens, and TBC on the screen in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. Takahashi, Kowalski, and Campbell all going down in Game number 1. More news as they come to hand here from Sunday Night Magic at GP Birmingham. Of course, here in the booth with me, it's Riley Knight, and with him, it's Raphael Levy, the Pro Tour Hall of Famer. Certainly our pleasure to bring you live coverage of this legacy event.
So he drew the land he needed. Either way, he needed a land to not take 2 from the Ancient Tomb because he was dead to Desert Chairman anyway.
So he can't tap that Ancient
He
Tomb.
cannot tap, not yet. But now he needs to cast his Walking Ballista and sacrifice a bunch of artifacts to pump it, so it kills both the Shaman and the Aberration.
Growler having a good long think about how he wants to play this card. I mean, it's not too difficult. You tap mana, you put it in play.
He has a Revoker, so he could Revoker for the Shaman as well.
Okay. In response, Santos activates the Deathrite Shaman, and Degrada's going to go down to 2.
Right, so GT would not have worked in my scenario.
Okay.
Oh, what did they have?
So. Second City of Traders here for Degrauta. So he's still breaking even on mana.
So given that he drew the City of Traders,
bit of confusion between these two players as they seem to sort out a gameplay issue. It looks like, are we still thinking of what to name with the Phyrexian Revoker? Surely not. Top-notch analysis.
No, this is pretty complicated, even from here, because there's the Lodestone Golem take into account, there's a Thorn of Amethyst to take into account, because GTA would cost actually 3.
It would, yes, thanks to the Thorn. So the Revoker now does seem to be naming Deathrite Shaman. It looks like Degrada is going to be good enough to name to put that bit of paper on top of it.
Yeah. So had he played GTA instead, he would have been able to equip before playing the Revoker, attack, gain 4 life, enough to. No, that wouldn't have worked. No, I guess Walking Ballista was better.
And Arcbound Ravager now eating up that Mishra's factory. 2 counters being placed on the Walking Ballista, which I imagine is going to shoot down the Delver straight away. So that's clever stuff from Degrada, jumping and pumping around with those +1/+1 counters, reducing the threat count. And wow, I tell you what, all of these cards, all the cards that Degrada has played have had a role to play here.
Very well played. That I was trying to figure it out, but he figured it out faster than me. And now he's still on 2. So he's hoping his opponent doesn't draw a burn spell.
Yeah, Bolt off the top's going to be nightmarish here.
Yeah.
For Degrada, at least Santos will be wiping the sweat from his brow if he can find it. Look at him, there he is. Slight smile on the face of this fella here.
Even an attack here.
Bold.
Offering the trade for the Angler.
And Santos is actually going to take it here.
Yeah.
Prevent that tax on his
16?
spells.
It's actually a pretty fast clock.
And he draws. Finds. Ugh. Volk in hand, I can see that much.
No, that's a Force of Will?
Is that what he just drawn? It's just drawn?
Could be.
Almost hard casted, huh? Pretty sure one of those other cards is a Volk. Now that Deathrite Shaman is just a lowly Squire.
Oh.
And a Wasteland, reducing.
All right, so no more mana.
to no lands.
It's pretty
functionally.
good. Drawing another City of Traders.
And an attack with the Edge Champion, and the beats have begun here. Degrada feeling at least confident enough that he knows he needs to turn the corner. He knows he needs to start putting some pressure on. And that looked like another Delve card. Or was it a Fatal Push? Difficult to see there. Santos holding his cards at a bit of a skew-if angle for us here in the booth. 6-turn clock now for Santos.
Ponder for 2 mana.
And here's a Ponder.
It's a little less because he can attack with the Ballista and the Revoker for just 2 more damage. So to add, here's
a lightning bolt off the Ponder. Unfortunately, Degrada doing everything he can to dig in nice and deep there, but unfortunately for him, Santos found the card that he needed, and in fairness was playing a fair few of them, so was likely enough to find one eventually. So the first game going the way of Bernardo Santos on Grixis Delver.
Pretty well played on the Gruger's side.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to say that I'm impressed, because there was a lot of things to think of, and he almost pulled it off. But well played from Santos' side as well. So now let's check at the sideboards. There is 1 Ancient Grudge on in Santos' sideboard. Probably not as good as Kolaghan's Command, but that could do it. A Braid could destroy any artifact as well. 3 Cabal therapies, probably not good enough in this matchup. Diabolic Edict. Diabolic Edict could do it. I mean, it's not like the average modern affinity where Diabolic Edict effects would actually do nothing against a modern affinity deck, because they would just sacrifice an Ornithopter. There they have Mishra's Factory, always happy to destroy a land. They have a Ravager, happy to destroy that too. Revoker, it's a 1-for-1, and you're always gonna hit something good. So that might come in. Flusterstorm, no. Grim Lavamancer dies to Ballista, so I'm not sure. Liliana, the Last Hope, probably a little too expensive, given that the Groter is going to keep his Thorns and Golems. Pithing Needle, that probably comes in. Surgical Extraction and the Red Blast, probably not. On the Stompy side, he probably played that matchup about 1 million times this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he knows what to do. Ensnaring Bridge, probably not. Ratchet Bomb, I know he brought in Ratchet Bomb.
We saw that in a previous round, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good against Young Pyromancer, pretty good against the various 1-drops in the Grixis Delver list.
Yeah, and they have the deck list, so they know if that's good or not. Sorcerer's Spyglass, probably not. Just to keep them from to keep Santos from fetching. I don't think that's any relevant. Karn is gonna get in, pretty sure. And that's about it. It's like 4 cards. Karn and Ratchet Bomb in, and Ancient Grudge, Abrade, and that's it on the other side.
Well, these players putting the finishing touches on their lists here. I mean, is it the case that Grixis Delver is favoured against the Stompy deck, or is it a bit closer than we think?
I think it's close, because Chalice of the Void is just a 1-card win if it's played on turn 1.
Kind of like a free win, right?
Yeah. Not exactly a free win, but it's if it's there, hard to deal with. They said to only have 2 answers to it. But the other way to play around the Chalice is to dump all your 1-mana spells and play Gourmet Angler.
Just run them straight into the Chalice, and then
you have that option. It's not great,
yeah,
but that could be a way to play around it.
Well, these players seem to be approaching a state of readiness for this next game here, and of course we will bring you more updates from around the tables as we do get them there. I think I mentioned before that Van der Ham got up in game number 1, as indeed did Anderson over Kowalski. Alexander Mertens winning his first game against Gary Campbell as well, and now Bernardo Santos joining those game 1 victors. We will check in and see if there are any more results to bring you as soon as they come in. But right now, it looks like all players involved in games 2 across the board here at GP Birmingham. This is the final of course, the Legacy tournament here. We are running a double-header GP. We have a Standard tournament going on behind us right now in day number 1. And the coverage of Standard will finish tomorrow. And that means that we are going to bring you coverage of Standard starting at, I think, 9 a.m. local time, Raph. Might be 9:30. Check your guides for details. But you'll be wanting to tune in to see what's going on in this brand new Standard format.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
You'll be along with many of the other top-name pros at the Pro Tour in Richmond, Virginia, in just about a month's time, Raph. And so I know that many of them. I mean, Jerry Thompson made the trip over here, found himself a cheap flight, and headed over in order to get a bit of Premier level experience at the biggest Standard tournament in the lead up to the Pro Tour.
Oh, there's going to be another GP next week, right? Toronto.
Sure.
I think it's going to be Standard as well.
Yep.
So it's the biggest GP.
It's the biggest GP for sure before
right now.
before the tournament. But we're going to get a lot of interesting data from this one. We've got a lot of interesting data from Toronto. Certainly hoping to have your company as we continue to bring you coverage of the best Magic in the world right here on twitch.tv/Magic. With me, Riley Knight, and him, it is Raph Levy. Let's have a look at the standings as they were at the end of round number 15, at the end of the Swiss, and we can see exactly how things shook out. A lot of people on 37 points here, and unfortunately for some, weren't able to make it in. There's that cut top 8 here, and as you can see, 36 is a long way down after that there. But Peter Van der Ham rose above everyone else, and Johan de Carter just behind him on 40 points. Those two doing very well to secure nice, tidy finishes for the Swiss. as we bring it back now to the table to see exactly how things are going to pan out here. Shuffle Cam 2018. It just seems to be the best of it right now as the players have a bit of a chat. Maybe having a talk about what they had for breakfast, Raph.
Is it Sunday Night Magic, right?
It's Sunday Night Magic.
But Sunday somewhere in the world.
It's Sunday somewhere. Is it?
Is it Sunday in Australia?
I don't think it's Sunday in Australia just yet.
I think it is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Sunday night morning, but Sunday night.
It's 3:20 in the morning.
Yeah, so it's night.
It is Sunday, technically Sunday night. There you
Yeah,
go. Working off Australian time. Tell you what, Australian time, only real time. Or only time that actually
it's
matters.
Sunday Night Magic
Australia,
in Australia.
get around it. Best country. Number one.
Yeah, that's why you live in Scotland now.
That's why I live in Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh, I do miss the sandy beaches at home. I'll tell you that much. I do miss it.
Yeah, mate, that's...
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, mate. Oh, it's no good, eh? Just no bloody good. Cold, raining, horrible every day. But then again, you can buy fried Mars bars for like £2. So, swings and roundabouts. Now, Scotland is fantastic. It's nice to live in the UK over here. If you're an enthusiast of rain, you will, of course, love living here. But one of the most amazing Magic communities, I know I've talked a lot about Gary Campbell throughout the weekend, and we may check in with him as he's actually tied up his second game, I can tell you, against Mertens here, as indeed has Takahashi against Van der Ham there. So better stuff from those two in games number 2.
I think it's a sweet hand.
And we'll have a look now at what's going on in the opening hands here. Raph, what have you spotted?
So it's not exactly the most aggressive hand, but if Johan decides to bring in his narrowing bridge... Oh, wow, he mulliganed this. So I guess I was not right on this one. He had the Chalice on turn 1, and his narrowing bridge, Mishra's Factory, and ways to play the chess on turn 1. So I don't know. Maybe he doesn't value the Chalice as much as I do, but
doesn't value the card that is almost an auto win.
I think I don't know.
Right.
I think I would have kept it and slammed the Chalice on turn 1.
So as I mentioned, Gary Campbell equalising here with Alexander Mertens. That means that the Dredge player went down in game number 2. Not the most uncommon thing to happen with Dredge once all the graveyard hate comes in. And in addition to that, Van der Ham playing Grixis Delver has equalised against... Yuta Takahashi has equalised against Grixis Delver in the hands of Peter Van der Ham. Check pile, Grixis Delver tied at 1-1 on table 4. And right now it seems like this and our other game between Janis Skovby Anderson and Gregor Kowalski, these guys still at 0-1. Of course, Anderson favoured in the other match. And right now, Degrada going down to 6.
I don't know what better hand do you want than a turn 1 Chalice. I don't know. I would keep maybe not keep a 6-land Chalice, but
6 lands.
6-land Chalice.
Like
5 lands something in Chalice I would keep.
All right.
Unless you have a better hand with Chalice. That's a better hand with a turn 1 Chalice. That works too.
Mox Opal in this opening hand, in addition to Lotus Petal. Looks like Degrada's happy to stay. Finds a card on top. And is it going to go above or below deck?
Wow.
We'll find out.
He mulliganed to better hand.
Did he really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Easy.
that was...
Easy game.
Yeah, well, always mulligan.
Always
mulligan.
Always mulligan. Always shuffle. Always scry. And always kick things off with the Mishra's Factory for Degrada here. He's going to open with Mishra's Factory, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, and to round out this little performance here, it's going to be a Chalice of the Void on 1. And so let's see what Bernardo Santos has to answer that one. Is there a Force of Will? There is not. And so Santos draws a Delver off the top, a blank piece of cardboard for him. And a Wasteland on the Mishra's Factory, but it may be too little too late here. Degrada is well and truly ahead. Ships the turn. Doesn't have to do anything.
Wait, he can't do anything. He doesn't have a land. He doesn't have mana. He can't play his Volt Scourge because it costs 1, and he doesn't have the 1 mana.
So a land you would think is going to be in it. Santos is going to test the water here. I like this.
I'll play this guy, just in case.
Just in case. It is possible for Degrada to forget the trigger, but that's going to be high. Oh, nope. Santos didn't even give him the option. All right.
No can do.
So Santos plays a 1-mana Lotus Petal that can only cast his Gurmag Angler here. And now an Ancient Tomb is...
for GT into a Volt Scourge.
Yeah, it's not bad here because the GT is going to turn on the Mox Opal. So we've got the equipment and now a little Batsky to wield it.
Batsky?
Looks like a bat.
Yeah.
Bat with a vertical mouth.
So Batsky is what? Is it a Polish bat?
Yeah, it's a Polish bat, mate.
Batsky.
Yeah. Eastern European bat. So bats are just so small over here.
Yeah.
In Australia, bats are enormous.
They're like vultures and stuff like that.
They're as big as cats.
Yeah.
And then the first time I saw a bat over here, I was like, that's just a mouse with wings. Like, I understand why in German it's Fledermaus.
Yeah,
It's flying mouse.
Same thing in French.
Flying mouse?
Chauve-souris.
Yeah, there you go. But in Australia, it should be like, I guess, yeah, we call them flying foxes
Yeah.
because they're huge.
Yeah, I think that's his plan. His plan is to go for Gurmag Engler.
Yeah, and you
that's
can
what
see
I
here
called, yeah.
Santos, he knows what he's doing. He's dumping these cards in the bin for a very,
Wow.
very good reason because he wants to play a 5-5 and get it done with that. But it's going to be difficult now because De Grauta has an active GT. He's got a little Batsky getting it done. And now, with Santos getting further and further locked out of this game, and a second bat joining the first one.
You gotta love the GT on the lifelink creature.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Real good now.
Yeah, now it's
You betcha.
It's double the taste. Instead of gaining 2 life, you gain 2 life and you deal 2 damage for every counter.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, man.
Back to Santos now.
That's something you can play.
And here is the fish. So that's what he was playing towards. That's why we saw him dump his hand into his graveyard. And you mentioned that as a line,
Yep.
even as they were looking at their opening hands here. And we'll see what De Grauta's response to that is.
Well, he just gains 6 a turn.
Just
So
races, huh?
yeah.
Yep.
So it's basically 6 damage to -1.
So we see the Umezawa's GT pumping up the Volt Scourge to a 5-5.
So every turn he deals 6 damage and gain 1, even with the attack.
Gains 6 life and then loses the 5 to the Gurmag Angler.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
But that's not going to work that way because he also has Edge Champion to block the Gurmag Angler. So yeah.
The door closing on Santos very quickly, and this is the look of a man
Yeah.
who is well and truly up a certain creek without a certain rowing implement, and that means that we're going to go to Game 3 between Johan De Grauta and Bernardo Santos here.
In French, you say les carottes sont cuites. I mean, the carrots are cooked.
The carrots are well and truly cooked.
Yeah.
No raw carrots in sight here for Bernardo Santos. He craves that crispy crunch, but he's not going to get it because his carrots,
Are cuite.
they are cuit.
They are very
limp,
cuite. Yeah.
They are saggy,
Yeah.
and they are probably the most horrible way to eat a carrot is
it?
once it's been cooked. Do you prefer a raw or a cooked carrot, Raph?
I actually can't eat carrot.
Can you not eat
I
carrot?
know I can eat carrot.
Are you
I have a
allergic
very,
to it?
yeah.
You're allergic to
Yeah,
carrot.
And yeah,
You're like the opposite of Bugs Bunny.
yeah.
That's a very, very strange thing indeed. In the meantime, we are going to have a look now at another table. We're going to head over to table number 2 once we've got things lined up over there. We're going to check in. I mean, I'm so sorry to do this to you around the world. I know you all love that shuffle cam, but unfortunately we do have more magic to bring you, so just the way the cookie crumbles today. We do apologize. We'll try to get some of that A-class shuffling action coming your way before much longer. But in the meantime, enjoy it while it lasts because we're going to head over to table 2 and see what is up between a couple of the other quarterfinalists here at GP Birmingham. Let's come back to this carrot allergy real quick here, Raph.
I don't think it's relevant to
No?
this match.
Just
no.
not relevant to this match here
No.
between Alexander Mertens and Gary Campbell here, tied up at 1-1. And you can see Mertens playing the classic dredge battlefield setup of graveyard across the front of the battlefield.
Is that the graveyard?
I think that's the graveyard. That's my
I
guess.
have a hard time understanding what's going on.
Now Gary Campbell, he's got a chalice on 0. He's got a chalice on 1. He's also got a Magus of the Moon, and that's not going to affect him too much. Got all the lands he needs, and he can get in for 2 now as well, and take Alexander Mertens to task. Gary Campbell, I know I've talked a lot about this guy, but I tell you what, if there's someone who deserves to be waxed lyrical on coverage, it is this man here, one of the shining stars of not just the Scottish community, but indeed the wider Magic community as a whole. This guy is, single-handedly, I would say, responsible for the success of Scottish Magic on so many levels. One of the most generous and kind-hearted souls you're going to meet. A great ambassador for the game. An owner of an LGS as well, Raph. He owns Highlander Games up in Dundee. I played the last pre-release there. And one of the men who just really does so much to foster such a positive community around everything that he does here. Alexander Mertens on dredge here has got his work cut out for him, facing off against, Chalice of the Void, an effective Blood Moon, and now a Goblin Rabblemaster just to pile on the pressure here. Raph, you've played a lot of dredge in your time. This is not the sort of pressure you want to be under as a dredge player?
Well, it wouldn't actually matter if Alexander was not playing against Very Macabre. Very Macabre. Very Macabre. We've seen that there's one in Gary's graveyard, and I think we had a glimpse at his hand. There's another one there. So that makes the play just as just as hard because he doesn't know if he has to sacrifice the Lion's Eye Diamond to get a dredge card in his graveyard because a Fairy Macabre would just ruin that plan.
Mm-hmm.
He would take such a step back, and I think that's what he has to do, unless he wants to wait to draw Faceless Looting.
So Mertens cracks the LED. We're going to see him discard his hand here with 3 mana floating. And what's going on in it there? See, Narcomoeba looks like a breakthrough in addition to the Golgari Thug.
Yeah,
3 mana in pool here for Mertens.
And the Fairy is going to remove it could exile the Thug and either the Bridge or the Icarid.
Icarid, one of the other cards that we see in Legacy Dredge. No, it doesn't feature in Modern. So here's the Fairy Macabre, discarded by Campbell. He's not playing it for its beatdown applications, that's for sure.
And the Bridge.
A little bit of interesting information here about Campbell and his approach to this tournament and this format. Hadn't played a game. Hadn't played a single game with Mono Red Prison before the GP.
All right.
And ran it into 6th.
It's pretty good.
Easy game. Back to Campbell now. He did play that Rebel Master post-combat there. And obviously didn't get that Goblin value. Draws what looks like a Simian Spirit Guide off the top there.
2/2 for 3.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. I mean, he's playing a lot of them already. It's 2/2 for 3 tribal.
Yeah.
Grey Ogre tribal, mate.
Attacking for 6 here.
That 45-degree angle tap here. Gary Campbell, you can do better, my friend.
That's what it was intended in the first place.
Well, this is the thing. He's been playing since I was literally before I was toilet trained. So
the tap symbol is just
it
45.
doesn't go the whole way. The T is like only
yeah.
45 degrees over. So this guy is he's been around for a long time. And I tell you what, these old habits die hard, Raph, as you know.
Yeah, the most recent, as in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, the tap symbol is all the way like 90%.
Yeah.
90 degrees. But now, back in the day, it was 45.
45-degree tap. So getting in there now. And Alexander Mertens without too much to say.
And now I was talking about Faceless Looting, but even if he does draw a Faceless Looting, there's a chalice for 1, so it wouldn't even matter.
So, exile the Simian Spirit Guide. We're going to see a Fiery Confluence as
Take
well.
6.
Yeah.
So puts you on the 1-turn clock. Kill you next turn.
Huge attacks here for Gary Campbell as he draws ever closer to the semi-final berth here. Is there anything that Alexander Mertens can find?
No, there's no out here.
Yep. Alexander Mertens extends the hand, and Gary Campbell makes his way to the semi-finals, and you can hear the raving and the chanting of the Scots behind us here. But now we move over to our first match that we were watching there. Johan de Grata and Bernardo Santos. Steel Stompy versus Grixis Delver. And Santos opening up with a Deathrite Shaman.
Not quite the start we expected from de Gruyter with a turn 1 chalice. He doesn't have the chalice. He doesn't have the 2-mana land.
No, just the old Darksteel Citadel here. Very quiet turn from him. And not what you expect as well with the Deathrite Shaman heading down the shops to get some lunch here.
Oh, wow. It's 1 land and no fetch.
Double Deathrite.
So is it going to be... Oh, he does have a Seat of Traders.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a little awkward.
Wasteland.
Here. Okay. Wasteland's going to be a good one.
Oh, waste the land and play the problem with Wasteland is that he actually gives 2 mana.
Yeah, that's
to
true.
Bernardo. So
Vault Scourge being cast for a 2 life here for de Grata.
Yeah.
We'll see if he wants to play another card here. No. Okay. Going to ship it back to Santos, who I think also found... Was that a Wasteland of his own?
I don't know.
Didn't get a good look at the card that he drew, but right now those Deathrite Shamans are doing actual nothing.
Oh man, against Spellskite they could just attack into a 0/4. It would just be blocked by Spellskite.
Yeah.
Attack, okay, block. Alright,
take 0. So Santos on a bit of a sticky
wicket.
Polluter Delta.
Yeah.
There we go, get it done.
Still only access to 1 extra mana.
Yeah, he obviously can't
so not
double exile it.
Like he could try.
He could try. Wouldn't quite work. It would like the card AWOL from Unglued.
What does it do?
It exiles a card and then double exiles it essentially.
Oh yeah.
It removes it from the game and then puts it into the completely removed from the freaking game zone.
Okay.
Yeah. Silver boarded, in case that needed pointing out.
I got it.
Here's the young Pyromancer now. No death right shenanigans needed to cast this little boy here.
No attacks.
And Santos is going to get in there. Yeah, get in there for 2. Why not? Deathrite Shaman's on Squire duty here. And the crowd will be with a bit of a slower start. He can, of course, cast an Etched Champion here with his next land, should he find it. Lotus Petal also would be good enough to do the job.
No, he has a Seat of Traders.
All right. Not taking any damage from any Ancient Tombs this time. His Spellskite.
It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Maybe follow that up with, we've got a Steel Overseer.
That's also pretty good.
Also pretty good. And an Etched Champion should he choose to play. Just going to be the Overseer here. Asking Santos the question, do you have the answer? Because it doesn't take too long for the Steel Overseer to really kick things into top gear.
Yeah. And
having said that, the 2-drop on your screen here, Raph, this one is also very, very good when left unchecked.
It is, but is it going to be enough here? Let's see, if it resolves, that's great. If it faces a Force of Will, all right. But now Santos only has 1 card left, so
it's going to be a Force. Santos makes a 1/1 Elemental here.
Yeah,
and Degrada gets in there, yeah. Gain 1, you lose 1. Santos down to 17.
Yeah, there's not actually that. It looks impressive, but there's not that much pressure on Bernardo's side yet. Because if he attacks everything, he deals 2 damage, pretty much.
Okay.
He deals 3, but then there's the Volt Scourge that gains a life on the Grutil side.
Well, let's talk about this, because Santos here has had a pretty reasonable curve out with Deathrite Shaman into Young Pyromancer. Why isn't that getting the job done in this situation, Raph?
Well, he had to play a Force of Will as well, so he didn't have the lands. He didn't actually have the spells to go with the Young Pyromancer. He has a lot of Deathrite Shaman, but that's not what he wants.
And 3 Deathrite Shamans, isn't that like, it's not 3 times better than 1 Deathrite Shaman?
No,
right?
just 1 is good. 1, maybe 2 to get the green mana. Wow, okay.
We do have a result from one of our other tables as well. Peter van der Haan actually wins game 3 against his opponent Yuta Takahashi. So the Japanese player knocked out, and Grixis Delver continues its onslaught on this tournament into the semi-finals in the hand of Peter van der Haan, who came first in the Swiss, has run the table so far, and is looks set to continue there. He joins Gary Campbell as our second semi-finalist here.
So now he's thinking about either sacrificing the Lotus Petal or playing his Mishra's Factory to get a hedge champion in play. I like the Grutus position here. Because with Spellskite and Esnering Bridge, he has a way to, not being attacked. Because if Santos draws his Abrade, for example, he won't be able to target the
Ensnaring Bridge.
The Snaring Bridge, yeah.
But how does he win with an Ensnaring Bridge in play?
With the Ravager.
Oh, onto a Walking Ballista. Yeah, sure. All right.
Or just eats the bridge and
then
pump something else.
Attacks him for a minion. All right. Okay, so Degrada with ways to play through that, play a longer and slower game.
But that's yet a long game, because then he would need to draw other stuff.
I mean, he's on 11 life. He's certainly got a high life. He's not dead to a top deck bolt.
Yeah,
that's important.
Also the bridge does not keep Bernardo from activating his.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
The Shamans. Yep.
Here's an Etched Champion now. Lock up the board even further. Protection from all colors. Very useful set of abilities. Well, set of ability.
No attacks from. He just played the Steel Overseer, right?
It was played this turn.
Yeah.
The previous one was. Why
didn't he attack with the Scourge?
Let's get in there.
He just gained 1 life because he's not going to block this turn.
Well, Santos now ships the turn back to Degrada, who has a Mishra's Workshop in hand. Of course, that would cost him the City of Traders.
Mishra's Factory.
Mishra's Factory, I should. Mishra's Workshop would be an entirely different format. I do apologize. Is that a second land in hand as well here for Degrada? Yeah, it is. It's a Caracas.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to cast his Snaring Bridge anytime soon, because his guys are going to be too big. Especially if he wants to attack with the Volt Scourge.
Looking like thinking about activating that Steel Overseer here.
Maybe he wants to play his Mishra's Factory first, activate, and get a token on a counter on the Mishra's Factory.
Nope. All right.
Never mind.
Just a couple of +1/+1 counters being slammed onto all of these creatures. 1, 1, 1, and 1 here. So the Etched Champion is a 3/3 protection from everything. The Volt Scourge is a 2/2 flying lifelink creature. And the Spellskite, a 1/5. 1/5 Lightning Rod.
If he plays his Mistress Factory now, it's going to feel a little bad.
Yeah, I doesn't seem like the right thing to do.
I think he will play it.
Yeah.
But he just missed a counter on it. For free, because he would have had to tap his Seed of Traders for mana.
Santos uses the Deathrite Shaman to ding de Krauter for 2, back down to 11. Says, I don't like you on 13, mate. I liked you back on back where you were on 11. That was better stuff from you. And now, de Krauter thinking about his next move. Seems to be considering playing the Ensnaring Bridge, or is it just the Wasteland activation now?
I think it's the end of turn.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, that
the Wasteland activation,
yep.
But yeah, I don't think it costs much to do it.
All right.
I don't think it matters too much, actually.
Sandos has to find something here.
I think
Marsh Casualties would be a really good one.
Yeah.
Yep, kicked Marsh Casualties a deal with the Steel Overseer, but apart from that, I think it's going to be all over Red Rover if Santos can't find an answer here. Nothing in the way of a Shadow Storm.
He has Ancient Grudge. He has 1.
Okay.
And here it would actually be pretty good to first kill the Spellskite, and then anything else.
Steel Overseer, right?
And Steel Overseer, yeah.
But doesn't have it. Ships it back to de Gruyter, who gets to untap.
Yeah.
The nice full board draws another land. He's got 4 blank pieces of cardboard in his hand, essentially here, Raph. Do you just play the Mistress Factory? No, don't do it.
I would have played it last turn, but if his line is not to play it,
then don't do it now.
And keep the graveyards free of extra lands, because I think the reason why he's not playing it is to keep the graveyard as land free as possible.
Yeah. Constrict Santos's mana as much as he can here. Santos does have access to 2 fetch lands. One on the bin, one on the battlefield there. But even with all that mana, he's all dressed up, got nowhere to go. Are we now going to see a Wasteland? That seems very confusing.
I don't know. I think he's so much ahead now that it doesn't really matter that much.
He's put himself up to 14. Santos down to 12. Volt Scourge. Wow.
I think he's in this situation where it's like, oh yeah, well, I already missed the chance to play the Mistress Factory, so my line is to not play it. And I'm not going to play it. Even if it's the good play, I'm just going to follow my line. Sometimes you have to forget about your initial plan and go, even if your previous play looks worse, sometimes you have to change to accept you made a mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
And just go for the best play.
You shouldn't let... PV wrote an article about this. It's better to make 1 mistake that everyone sees rather than 2 that only you know about.
Yeah. It's a pretty good way to say it.
So Santos has drawn now a Gurmag Angler for the turn.
Ooh, Metamorph.
And de Gruyter now finds a bit of action in the form of Phyrexian Metamorph. Maybe get a second Steel Overseer going here.
Or another Edge Champion.
Another Edge Champion also might do the trick.
Or another Spellskite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be game.
Just really put up the shields, huh?
Yeah.
In comes the 4/4 Volt Scourge now.
How does he beat 2 Spellskites? I don't think he can beat 2 Spellskites.
And Santos is going to face down. Looks like a Phyrexian Metamorph is going to come down here.
Yeah, but what would you play it after combat?
Nope.
What would you play it after the Steel Overseer activation?
Ships once again. Santos. He's drawn something. I mean, obviously. He's drawn something. It's not a particularly good piece of analysis there.
He drew a card.
He drew a card. I think another Mistress Factory there. Steel Overseer. And de Gruyter has done the same thing for the last 3 or 4 turns.
Yeah, that's good enough.
And it seems to be getting there.
Steel Overseer, man.
So now an attack with the Edge Champion as well is enough to push through the final points of damage, and Bernardo Santos can't really believe it. He's done an incredible job to keep himself in it for that long, but ultimately Johan de Gruyter had the goods and delivered them well and truly, the address being, of course, Bernardo Santos' face. And that is that. As we bring it back to the booth now, my friends, we can wrap up the results from the quarterfinals and get across exactly how things went. So to remind you, of course, at the beginning of the tournament, at the beginning of this top 8, I should say, we had Peter van der Ham facing off against Yuta Takahashi. And Peter van der Ham topped the Swiss and did manage to win his quarterfinal as well. Janus Anderson versus Gregor Kowalski. Kowalski on Grixis Delver also managed to get up, so 2 Grixis Delver decks through to the semis there. Alexander Mertens and Gary Campbell. Campbell coming back, rallying marvellously after a Game 1 loss to the Dredge deck, and the Scottish Godfather did get through to the semis playing his Mono-Red Prison deck. And finally, as we saw on the screen just now, Johan de Kouter with his Steel Sompy deck managing to defeat Grixis Delver in the hands of Bernardo Santos. And that means, once again, our semi-final, Vanderham on Grixis Delver,